Well, good evening, everybody. I'm Amy LeCoq. Welcome to the Township Future 2020 Township Endorsements announcement. We are so pleased to see some familiar faces from our first two Zoom meetings and also some attendees who are new to our Township Future meetings. First up on the agenda for tonight will be our vetting committee chair, Ted Stanley, who will briefly describe his committee's work and then announce the Township Future endorsed candidates. You will hear from each of the candidates, and then I will pose your questions to the candidates. Please use the chat function to ask questions. Those questions will come to me, and I will go ahead and pose them. The chat feature is that little cartoon talk bubble at the bottom of your screen. Before we go, we'll let you know about a few events that we have coming up that may interest you. And as always, please share your support of Township Future with your Woodlands friends and family. Now I'm honored to introduce Ted Stanley, our vetting committee chair and our most recent member of the steering committee. Ted has been president of his village association for many years, and he shares your love of the unique township. Ted?
Thank you, Amy. And I also would like to welcome everyone to our Zoom meeting tonight. We are very excited to introduce to you our vetted endorsed candidates for the Woodlands Township Board of Directors. Before we get to the candidates, I want to take just a brief moment to explain our vetting process and how we came about choosing these candidates. We began our vetting process by sending out questionnaires to all of the candidates that filed for positions on the Woodlands Township Board of Directors. We encouraged all candidates to complete and return the questionnaires to us, and we informed the candidates that we wished to have an interview with them so that we could get to know them better and understand their candidacy. Of the 10 candidates that filed, we received 7 completed questionnaires, and of those 7, we were able to set up 5 interviews via Zoom. Our 5-member vetting committee visited with the candidates and asked some fairly frank questions regarding the candidates, their plans for the future of the Woodlands, and discussed what they feel are the most pressing issues for the residents of the Woodlands. Each candidate had the opportunity to give his vision and plans if elected. As many of you know, by our charter, Township Future was founded in part to specifically encourage, recruit, and support candidates for nonpartisan elections that affect the residents of the Woodlands. In our search, we looked for candidates who demonstrated these main qualities: a commitment to the Woodlands, not someone just looking to make a name for him or herself, but someone who has demonstrated by their actions their commitment to the Woodlands, a basic understanding of the history and governance of the Woodlands. The Woodlands is a very unique community, and we need leaders who appreciate our past as well as can plan for our future. The unique structure of governance lends to what makes the Woodlands a great community, and we need members of the board who appreciate the uniqueness and who can work with other entities because of it, not in spite of it. And finally, we look to someone who demonstrates the ability to make decisions based on relevant facts in the best interest of all residents of the Woodlands, not a select few or a particular group. Someone who will not be persuaded by outsiders. In addition to those characteristics, we also evaluated each candidate's commitment to our 3 governing principles. Low property tax and high quality services, limited government, and respecting the Woodlands' history and character of caring for all residents. Through our vetting process for position number 1, although each candidate fits some of our criteria, the vetting committee did not uncover a candidate who met our very high standards for an endorsed candidate, and therefore we did not endorse in position number 1. However, we are extremely excited to introduce to you our three endorsed candidates who have all demonstrated the three characteristics identified in our charter and who clearly follow our three guiding principles. In position number 2, we are pleased to endorse Jimmie Dotson. Jimmie Dotson is a longtime resident of the Woodlands and has experienced life in several of our villages over the years. Jimmie Dotson is a retired police chief and partner in a consulting firm. In fact, some might describe Chief Dotson as the architect of our community policing model that we use in the Woodlands today. Back around 2006 or so, Chief Dotson brought to the Woodlands the concept of community policing and laid out a plan that we could implement that would provide safety and security to the residents of the Woodlands. With only a few tweaks along the years, Chief Dotson's plan still exists today. Chief Dotson has served our community in various capacities over the years and brings to the table the understanding of the history and governance of the Woodlands. While he has witnessed and participated in much of the Woodlands history, his disciplined approach to problem solving and his ability to work across the board helps keep his eyes keenly on the future. For his dedication, experience, and vision, we proudly endorse Chief Jimmie Dotson for position number 2. So let's hear from Chief Dotson say a few words. Chief, if you will unmute yourself, and please take a few minutes to tell us about yourself, your campaign, and give our viewers an opportunity to understand a little bit more about you.
Well, thank you very much, Ted. And I want to thank those members of the Township Future for endorsing my campaign. I am a 30-year resident of the Woodlands. My wife, Elsa, and I have been married for 46 years. And when we moved to the Woodlands because of it being a hometown. And we fell in love with the Woodlands, and we've lived here except for 7 years when my career took me to Tennessee and we moved back to the Woodlands. The Woodlands have been so good to me that I want to give back to the Woodlands as we go through this pandemic to where I can use my 46 years of law enforcement experience to help all of our citizens to manage to get through this pandemic that we're on. I want to make sure that we keep our hometown with a low tax base. I want to make sure that we provide the best quality services that our residents are used to. And I want to make sure that we don't get our residents into a situation where we can't get out of when we talk about future. And our future right now is the subject of incorporation. And I want to make sure that through my experiences that we can inform all of our residents about what incorporation will bring to the Woodlands or not bring to the Woodlands. So thank you very much, Ted, and the Township Future for endorsing me.
Thank you, Chief Dotson. We appreciate you being here. And now let's turn to position number 3. We proudly endorse John Anthony Brown. While John Anthony Brown does not have an opponent in his race, we proudly endorse John Brown for this position. John Brown is seeking his 3rd term as director on the Woodlands Township Board of Directors. Mr. Brown was first elected to his board position in 2016 and currently serves as the treasurer of the board. Director Brown embodies the attributes of a director for all residents. Director Brown is not afraid to tackle tough tasks on behalf of the residents he serves. For example, his support of the board's resolution in favor of the recent CISD bond was crucial in its passing. Director Brown currently serves on the DSC, the Design Standards Committee, and the Alden Bridge Village Association. Director Brown has proven himself by his commitment to the Woodlands, his understanding of the history and governance of the Woodlands, and his ability to make decisions based on relevant facts. We could have easily set aside position number 3 since only one candidate was running, but because Director Brown has a proven track record as a director and defender of the people, we proudly endorse John Anthony Brown in position number 3. Director Brown, if you would unmute yourself and say a few words about yourself, your candidacy, and your vision in your next term of office.
Okay, there you go. Well, thank you, Ted. I really appreciate yourself and the Township Future Board for the endorsement. And there's not really much I could really top on what you said. There's no words that I could say that would really put in place my commitment and dedication to this community. So what I would like to do, if it's okay, I know the majority of you on the board and probably those that are on this chat know me very well, but I would like to kind of just start a little bit from the beginning for those who may not know me, if that's okay.
Perfect.
So I came from Philadelphia. I moved to Texas sometime in mid 2010. And then when my family moved here in late 2010, and we wanted to decide where we wanted to live, it was a no-brainer for us to raise our daughter was to move to the Woodlands. So I moved here in late 2010, early 2011, and my commitment was to be active in the community. So as soon as I moved here, I joined the Alden Bridge Village Association Board. And so my commitment to service began as soon as I moved here. So I currently still am on the Alden Bridge Village Association Board. So I've been on there for over 10 years. On the Township Board, elected in 2016, I served on multiple roles and multiple boards, as well as the DSC, as you know now. Let's see, Law Enforcement Advisory Council, the Economic Development Committee. Now, I'm also the vice chairman for the Woodlands Convention and Visitors Bureau, now known as Visit the Woodlands. So the basically what I've been exposed to is a well-rounded experience of our. I think that's what really sets me apart. I know I don't have any opponents, but I would say that if I did have an opponent, and just because I don't have an opponent doesn't mean that my commitment to this community would slow down or for any reason whatsoever. I think that many of you know me. I am very active in the community. I'm not, you might not see my face often. I really don't like pictures and stuff, believe it or not, and videos, but I do like to get my hands dirty. I do like to work one-on-one with people. So in all aspects. So for those who don't know me, ask around, ask anybody on the board here. You can reach out to me, whether you want to call me or email me. I'll be more than happy to come out and visit you one-on-one if you have any questions.
Thank you, Director Brown. We appreciate that. And now, last but certainly not least, let's go to candidate in position number 4, where we proudly introduce Dr. Dan Hannon. Dr. Hannon seeks the directorship in position number 4 after a long and successful career as the founder and pastor of one of the largest churches in the Woodlands. Along with his responsibility to spiritually lead his congregation, as the chief executive of the church, Dr. Hannon has had to oversee the complete business and administration sides of this unique, large business, literally from the ground up. With his 30-plus years of residency in the Woodlands, Dr. Hannon has had the opportunity to witness firsthand the uniqueness of our community. To cite Dr. Hannon's vision, he sees the uniqueness of the Woodlands as something that should be replicated, not eliminated. Dr. Hannon's vision for limited government and respect for the township's history puts him squarely ahead in his race. For his dedication to and experience in the Woodlands, and for his vision for our future, we proudly endorse Dr. Dan Hannon in position number 4. Dr. Hannon, if you'll unmute yourself and take a few minutes to address our viewers and offer an insight to your thoughts and vision for our future.
Well, thank you very much. I want to join in echoing the sentiments of the other candidates to Township Future for the honor and privilege of your endorsement. My wife, Judy, and I and our son, Danny, moved to the Woodlands in 1991. We were appointed by the Texas Conference of the United Methodist Church to plant a new congregation. We are in our 30th year here. I was the founding pastor, senior minister, now pastor emeritus to Christ Church United Methodist. It's on Research Forest next to the Woodlands High School. Our son is a 2001 graduate of the Woodlands High School and a 2005 graduate of Texas A&M University and the Corps of Cadets. Judy earned a associate's degree from Lone Star College, Montgomery, and served for 11 years with the Conroe Independent School District in various roles, and retired several years ago after the 11 years of service at Central Administration as the administrative assistant for federal programs and grants. We have had a very long tenured commitment to the Woodlands. And I believe that if there is any success I have had in my ministry, it's because of the providence of God to appoint me, the power and strength of Interfaith of the Woodlands, for which I am a proud supporter and member, and now serve as the chaplain to Interfaith. And third, and not the least of which, is the vision of George Mitchell to create such a community as this. I'm proud and honored to seek this opportunity to serve because I believe in the work and in the vision that Mr. Mitchell created to create this township. This is a very unique township. It is the only township in the state of Texas. The Woodlands Township is the #1 place in Texas to live, and it's one of the top in the United States because of the unique vision that created this great community, this hometown of ours that we call the Woodlands Township. The things that I see as critical and important for this particular campaign is the incorporation decisions that are before us, public safety and law enforcement, and particularly in the time that we're in COVID, is the controlling the budget and taxes. I know there are many issues before the township. I'm grateful to our directors that serve. I believe that there has been a quick rush to incorporating. We have until 2057, according to our agreement. And I believe that the accompanying development of a city with all of its bureaucratic structures would overlay a massive tax burden on our community that would be detrimental to our development. As it was said in the introduction, I truly believe there is a great vision to share. The vision of the township should be one that is replicated to the state of Texas and not eliminated. So I affirm my commitment to our unique township and not to a typical city. The second element is public safety and law enforcement. Year after year, our citizens talk about the importance of public safety. It's a high priority. Our township boasts one of the lowest crime rates in the region, and it's because of this magnificent working relationship we have with the county commissioners, with the sheriff, with the Montgomery and Harris County constables, and all the different law enforcement agencies. I pledge my support to nurture that relationship and to grow it, because I believe safety is a top priority. And then finally, the controlling the budget. The primary job of the board of directors, as I see it, is to manage the budget and control taxes. And particularly in this COVID situation that we're in, we are facing sales tax shortfalls, and my commitment is simply not to go to a default position of saying we need to raise taxes. I think there needs to be a great sensitivity given to how a shortfall is met. In my business career and managing a large Christian enterprise, I know that when you need to raise revenue, you can ask people to give more money, i.e. raise taxes, or you can involve more people in the process of giving. And when you involve more people in the process of giving, when you increase our business community and you increase the development of the community, you increase revenue at an exponential rate. And that's an idea that I like to bring to bear. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be a part of this. There's just one thought that I've had that I will leave with everyone. My favorite piece of artwork in this community is that statue that is at the intersection of Grogan's Mill and Research Forest. It is of a small figurine on the shoulders of an adult figurine, and at the base is a statement from Isaac Newton which says, "If I can see further, it's because I stand upon the shoulders of giants. If I've had any success, it's because of the giants that came before me. If any of us in the listening of my voice has experienced success in the Woodlands, it's because of the giants who created this vision, planted the vision, and nurtured the vision. I want to do for others what was done for me, and to pass that vision on. I would value your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hannon. Very much words of wisdom there. Well, we'd like to thank all of the candidates who came before us, not just these three, but we did vet everyone who gave us the opportunity to interview with them. So Amy, after much diligence and some deliberation, the Township Future Vetting Committee enthusiastically and proudly introduces our endorsed candidates for the November 3rd election of the Woodlands Township Board of Directors.
Many, many thanks. Yay. Many, many thanks to Ted and his committee for the hard work that they did. The steering committee unanimously adopted the recommendations of the vetting committee, and we are very proud and honored to endorse all three candidates. I just say, wow. I mean, it's an amazing three, and I would be so, this community would be so grateful to have all three of you serving on the township board come November. In fact, I've had a few chats from people saying exactly that. How wonderful these candidates are. Absolutely fabulous. Thank you so much to each of you for serving. Thank you, thank you. I've got two questions so far, and maybe we'll get some more. The one I'm gonna give to you first, to the candidates, and then just ask you to prepare. People are asking for your contact information, and whatever you're willing to give, your emails, your Facebook, your website. Please share that with the folks online. They want to contact you and help you. So feel free to share that information. Yard signs, they want yard signs. It's crazy. It's crazy, the chats that I'm getting.
Excuse me.
The question, one of the questions that I had was, okay, here's a shocker, incorporation. What is your position on incorporation? Let's go position by position, and then if we get some more questions, we'll change it up. But Chief Dotson, could you respond in terms of what is your position at this point on incorporation?
Thank you, Amy. My position is I am opposed to incorporation. And my rationale for saying that is that we don't know what the cost is going to be, even though we'd have until 2057 to make a decision whether or not we want to incorporate. And I feel with my 46 years experience as a law enforcement executive, as a chief of police in a major city and middle-sized city and over a large school district, tax base is what's going to have to pay for that particular package. And I don't know if the residents are aware of what that cost is going to be. So until that time, I stand opposed to incorporation. Not only do I stand opposed to it because of the actual dollars in cost, but I'm opposed to it because of the fact that right now we are a special purpose district. As Pastor Hannon stated earlier, we're the only city in Texas that has that unique distinction. And there's other communities that are looking at us to try to emulate us. So why would you want to take something that is working and try to tinker with it that could cause some not so pleasant feelings in the future? And I don't want to strap the next generation with a tax base that is unsustainable if we decide to go down the road of incorporation. That's my position that I'm taking at this time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chief Dotson. Director Brown, why don't we give everybody the opportunity to answer?
Sure.
What is your position on incorporation?
So as someone who's been in depth into the whole incorporation planning study for the last, now look, it feels like 2.5 years, it's a very complicated situation. I would ask that all the residents, including the fellow panelists, to take a deep dive into the township website and go through all the material, even the residents. It's a lot to take in. It's going to take a long time to digest what's in there. I know, Amy, you're firsthand, you know how complicated and in depth it is. So there's a lot to it, right? So my personal opinion is that I feel as though the residents should vote on what they choose to do. There are many personal reasons, not economical reasons, why some residents might want it. Some people might not want it for those same reasons that the people want it, right? So it is very complicated. And so, but to me, I really do think that this is something that the residents need to vote on. Maybe not now, maybe not next year, but it definitely sometime, I would say, in the very near future, so that we could basically move on from that for now and focus on other bigger, what I feel as though are more bigger issues and concerns with the township.
Director Brown, would you share what some of those bigger concerns might be?
Well, to me, it again, and I apologize, being an incumbent, you have access to what's going on in real time. So to me, there's a real emphasis on where our future sales tax is coming from. With the growth of Montgomery County, we are in competition with many of our surrounding communities. And so how do we stay relevant? How do we stay relevant but keep our unique character? But it's important that we know that we can't just stay idle, right? So there's a lot of things that we have to think about in regards to that.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate the answer. And Dr. Hannon, same question.
Yes, thank you. Well, I support and know that the citizens of the Woodlands will determine the incorporation issue. I am opposed to the rush to incorporation because the agreement of which we're under in the special purpose district, we have until the year 2057, long after many of us are gone, before a decision has to be made. And that decision will be made by the voters. Because of the great work of our state senator, Brandon Crichton, the threat of annexation has been taken off of the table. The special purpose district was created back when Kingwood got annexed by the city of Houston. Great anxiety rose in the community. I was here. I was a part of that conversation in the community when it happened. And it was created to avoid the annexation. Now that's off the table. We have a long time to talk about and to analyze. I agree with Director Brown. We need to take a deep dive. We need to spend 10, 15, 20 years looking at it to really measure out the longevity of it. At this time, I believe it's important to focus in on the operation of the township and not rush to incorporation. So I'm opposed to it to the extent that we don't need to rush into it until we understand the full impact of it. And 2 years of placing the debate before the citizenry, when you have 20 to talk about it, is rushing. And I don't think that needs to take place.
Okay, thank you, everybody. We have one other question. What unique quality will you bring to the township? Let's start with Director Brown this time.
I'm sorry, say that one more time, Amy.
Sure. The question is, what unique quality will you bring to the township?
So what I really think that if you had to ask me what my one quality is really I'm someone who is an active listener, an empathetic listener, but someone who you can engage with, right? And the word is really engage with regard, whether it's our county commissioners, whether it's our local officials, whether it's our residents. I really feel as though that a empathetic and sympathetic ear, and someone who's able to explain and discuss situations and questions and concerns in a way that makes people feel comfortable. And really, to me, that is, I could go on about my work experience and all that, but you know, to me, it's really how do I engage with the residents? And to me, that is one of my most unique qualities, is that I have the ability to, you know, regard, no matter what side of the fence on an issue you are, I can hear both sides and really make sense of what you're trying to tell me, and then have a meaningful discussion with.
Thank you. Dr. Hannon,
Yes, thank you.
you share what unique quality you bring to the township.
Sure. I do want to say that my webpage is hannonfortownship.com. hannonfortownship.com. I've served 40 years as a pastor, and my primary responsibility beyond the spiritual leadership of the congregations that I served in the last 29 years at Christ Church is I had to meet a budget and make a payroll. And the operation of a church business that I did, from an entrepreneurial founding to the managing senior pastor, is that it's all based on charitable giving, 100% charitable giving, which means the people have to share in the vision, which means a leader has to build that vision and build consensus in that vision in order to move forward. A leader cannot be so far advanced that when they turn around, nobody's behind them. There has to be consensus building, and I believe I have that skill set demonstrated through the development of the church, building 100,000 square feet of facility within the Woodlands, which means I have gone through the entire gambit of building in the Woodlands, from securing the 9 acres we're on to the building of those different facilities, of casting the vision, of managing the different aspects of HR, finance, property, and equity decisions. I think the skills that I had in that are transferable and analogous to the operations of a township. And I believe in the building consensus and sharing that vision. I think that's part of the task of the township board, is to tell that vision over and over of what makes the Woodlands so unique. And it has been successful. I mean, look at where we are. Look at the great picture behind Director Brown. I mean, these are great stories to tell, and they need to be retold.
Thank you. Chief Dotson, same question.
Yes, I consider myself a transformational leader. I've had the ability to reach consensus, even though you can stake out your position. But what makes it even stronger is when you are able to collaborate with those who are having an opposing position than you have. Throughout my 46 years in law enforcement, with 40 of those being in executive responsible positions as chief of police, I have had the experience of doing that. I've had the experience of working in social unrest environments, to where I've had to go out into the communities and find those who were unhappy with the police services or the city services in general, and collaborate to where we could find partnership and where it would be a win-win situation. That's what I want to bring to the board. Even though you can stake out your position, but there's nothing wrong with you having some movement in your position as time demands. And so I believe in collaboration. I believe in listening to people and respecting their position, but I also believe in finding a middle of the road where it can be a win-win situation for all parties involved.
Thank you. Let me give each of you, I know Dr. Hannon gave his website. Let me give each of you the opportunity to share any contact information that you would like. And is there anything else, Dr. Hannon, that you would like to share in terms of contact information?
Sure, thank you. My Facebook is the same. It's Hannon for Township. If you go on Facebook, that'll come up. I would value people liking it. And my email address is dthannon, HANNON 55 @gmail.com.
And Chief Dotson?
Yes, thank you very much. My website is JimmieDotson.com. My Facebook is Jimmie Dotson 2020 Campaign. And my email address is jimmiedotsontx@gmail.com. And I welcome any input. I welcome any conversation that you would like to have regarding my position and regarding my campaign. Thank you.
And Director Brown?
So there's two ways you can get in contact with me. One is obviously I'm most accessible via my cell phone. So you can always reach me at my cell phone number at 215-828-0068. And my email address, you can reach me, it's on the township directory, but I believe it's JA.Brown at the Woodlands Township -texas.gov.
Okay, great. And in response to one of the questions, we will go ahead and repost all of your contact information on the Township Future website so that folks can get, if they can't find you directly, come to Township Future website and we'll get them to you. Okay. I think that's about all the time we have for questions. I really want to be respectful of everybody's time, so we do need to close out the session. But before we do, I would like each of you who have liked and heard what you, each of you who have liked what you heard tonight to act on it. Donate whatever you can, spare, and/or volunteer to help us support these three candidates. You can contact each of the candidates at the information that they provided to you. If you wish to support all three candidates, contact us at Township Future and we will make that happen. Between the steering committee and the vetting committee, we are 11 hardworking volunteers, but we need your help to make Township Future the Township's future just as special as its past, and to elect these three candidates. We hope to see you Saturday night at Hughes Landing from 6 to 8 p.m. You'll get a free mask supporting our local restaurants and shops. Also, you can join us next Wednesday night for a discussion on the budget and taxes, an issue-oriented discussion on budget and taxes on Zoom again. Or if you want, if it's more your style, bike over to the Grogan's Mill Farmers Market on the 19th, or just walk over from the Farmers Market. And there you'll be able to get voter registration information and forms, and also mail-in application ballots and information about mail-in ballots. And you'll also be able to meet candidates for the township. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I think you can see that we have three outstanding candidates for the township board. We have a great thing going in the Woodlands, and we want to keep it going by electing Jimmie Dotson, Director John Brown, and Dr. Dan Harmon. Thank you so much, and good night, everybody.